Today, it is going to be an apotheosis of beauty and adventure. We're going to visit iconic attractions like Niagara Falls, for example, but also less-known destinations such as Letchworth State Park, the Grand Canyon of the East. We're going to explore great cities like Buffalo and Rochester, Watkins Glen in the Finger Lakes area, and the Corning Museum of Glass. Yes, the Summer 2021 series is going out with a bang. Join us as we explore Western upstate New York.
I'm riding with my RV, wherever I want to be. 'Cause I'm free in my RV.
We're arriving in Buffalo, New York, and let me tell you, not the best first impression. Actually, it is getting better, but we're not staying here. We're actually going a little farther north towards the southern shore of Lake Ontario. We must be very careful not to take the wrong exit because that is called the Peace Bridge, and on the other side of the Niagara River, that is Canada. And even though as we were filming this on August 14th, 2021 and the Canadian border just reopened August 9th, we don't want to risk international travel yet. Also, traveling with a loaner RV can be an issue, so we'll remain on this side for now. Although, let me tell you, it is very tempting. As someone who grew up on an island, I find the land borders fascinating. And here's another border crossing. Gotta make sure we turn right. Yep, we almost made the wrong turn. We're going to stay right here at 4 Mile Creek State Park, a huge campground right on Lake Ontario. The view across the lake should be spectacular. Well, here we are, very nice 4 Mile Creek campground. We're getting almost perfect weather today. Amazing, this high 70s, mid 70s probably. Sunny, not a cloud in the sky, and now we're gonna go see Lake Ontario. I knew it. That's Toronto on the Canadian side, 30 miles away. Can't really see it, probably not with this camera, but way out there in the distance, across the lake, that's Toronto, Ontario, Canada. This is Lake Ontario, and this is a beautiful afternoon here. Tomorrow we're going to Niagara Falls. We're gonna walk around the park here a little more. Let's go for a little hike here. There's a creekside trail. I don't know exactly where it goes. It is the only trail, so. You just can't get over the fact. You can see the city across the lake. It looks like the trail goes through the back of some of these tent sites. And this must be 4 Mile Creek. We're only doing like a quarter mile. I want to thank Surfshark VPN for sponsoring this episode. And what is a VPN, you might ask? Well, it stands for Virtual Private Network. What it does, it provides a secure private connection between your devices and the internet. And this is particularly important if you're at a public Wi-Fi, like a coffee shop, a hotel, campground. Even if it has a password, you don't really know if that connection is secure, if it is private, if someone is eavesdropping on your communication. And it's so simple, it's just an app on your mobile device, and there's also a desktop application for your computer. And all you have to do, the simplest way to do it is connect. And within a few seconds, that connection has become totally private, totally secure for your eyes only. That's the main feature, right? And even if you're not at a public Wi-Fi, sometimes it is good practice just to do it, especially for the other features. For example, let's say you want to watch something that is only available in another country. All you have to do is there's a drop-down menu, and all you have to do is connect. Let's connect to Montreal, for example, and that's it. You are virtually teleported, as I like to say, to Montreal. There are other features. There's this one right here called Search, and I've been using it lately. It's a true incognito search. It has other features like a clean web that will get rid of unwanted ads or spyware, that kind of thing. Now they're running a holiday special, and if you click on the link in the description box, that's surfshark.deals/myrv, and you enter promo code myrv, you get 84% off and 4 months for free. Well, we're gonna make some Cuban style black beans, and what we did, we soaked the beans first, and now we're gonna put them on the Instant Pot with some water and some green peppers, and we're gonna give it pressure for about an hour, and then we're gonna do the sofrito and the rest of the stuff. It's gonna be good. Remember those sausages we got back in Georgia? Well, yeah, we're grilling one of those too, and bacon. Smoking! Yeah. Woo. Meanwhile, inside we're chopping and sauteing some onions, salt, pepper. I'm gonna crush, peel, and mince some garlic and some of that bacon that we just grilled. Some of that Edmundo cooking wine, cumin, oregano, and paprika. Alright, it's been an hour. I think this is ready, so how do you do this? The one at home is different. You just go like, boom, there you go. And the steam will come out. And the sofrito is almost ready, so this will go in there now, and then at the end we'll add a little bit of, raw olive oil just for the flavor, and maybe we'll do a little bit of vinegar. It will be great. This is gonna be like really, really good. It's gonna need a little more salt for sure, but now we're gonna mix the sofrito here. We're gonna mix it up, and that's it. I think it's ready. Just bring this over, and in the end it might need a little bit more salt. That's the only thing, so I forgot to put salt on the beans themselves. And I'm using this sea salt, this Himalayan salt. I'm not used to it, so I have no idea. You could use more salt. It's a whole pound of beans. Alright, let's check it out. Of course, this is a dish best enjoyed after a while, once it's, all the flavors concentrate, and with a little bit of white rice also is the way to do it, but I'm just gonna taste it like this, see if it's any good. We're already stuffed from all that sausage and bacon, so. I'm gonna be honest, it was not the most traditional recipe. Grandma must be rolling in her grave, but it was close enough and tasty. Now let's enjoy the sunset over the lake. It's still a little bit early, but such a beautiful afternoon here overlooking Lake Ontario. Now that we're lower, only the tallest skyscrapers are visible over the horizon. It's early still, but I think it is going to be a pretty good sunset. Everyone is gathering for the spectacle. Well, here we are, awaiting the sunset. and it's gone. We're going to Niagara Falls! Some years back, we visited the Canadian side, but today we're going to the American Falls. Here's Whirlpool State Park, which we will visit later. But first, there's a pool out here coming up from where we can get our first glimpse at Niagara Falls. I can already see the tall buildings and the Skylon Tower.
There's the Canadian side over there. You can see the Maid of the Mist on the river. That's it right there.
Now, if you ever come here, don't do what I'm about to do. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but with our 4 Mile Creek State Park Pass, we're getting free at all New York state parks. And Niagara Falls happens to be one of those. But no, not me. I saw the sign that said casino and visitor parking and I don't even want to say it. I parked at the $25 lot. The more you know. In any case, we're here and very excited to see the American side of this natural wonder of the world. There it is. Right now we are behind the American Falls, but we're going to a better vantage point. Here, this is much better. And that's the Maid of the Mist down there, which is a boat that takes you right to the edge of the falls. But we did that back in 2013, and today we're doing something different. Now we are at the observation tower, and the view from here is spectacular. By far the best view of the falls. And there's the Canadian side, which is more developed, and it does have arguably a better view of the falls. But I really like this side, perhaps even better, I don't know. I feel like on the American side, the experience is more intimate, while the view from the Canadian side is more commanding, if you will. There's once again the Maid of the Mist. But as I said, we did that back in 2013, so we're doing something different today. And that's the Rainbow Bridge between the USA and Canada.
And that is the edge of the world.
That's the bridge that goes towards Goat Island, which is an island located right between the American Falls and the Canadian Horseshoe Falls. And that's where we're going next. We're going to do something adventurous and potentially get wet. That's the observation tower we visited earlier. The best place to see the falls as a whole from this side of the border. Here's the back of Bridal Veil Falls, and again, the observation tower. Much more crowded now. Yes, Bridal Veil Falls here once again, and that's what we're going to do next. It is called Cave of the Winds. We are in between the falls here actually, on this small piece of dry land called Luna Island. Yep, we're definitely gonna get wet. And here's another one of the viewpoints. It is quite something to see the falls here in person. Here we are, Cave of the Winds.
Well, yeah, quite the fashion statement here as we go into the Cave of the Winds. This was almost bucket list, guys. And yeah.
This attraction, incredibly crowded.
Well, here we are. We can feel that the power of the roaring Niagara Falls, American Falls up there. What a great view this is.
The roar of the rushing water is deafening.
It's amazing.
Of course, some people take not one or two, but 20 pictures, taking forever, oblivious to the fact that everybody else wants to do the same.
Woo! Look at that. I'm glad I got my glasses. We're getting pretty wet here. It's like a heavy downpour here. Oh my God. Let's go all the way to the top. We're gonna cross right on the Bridal Veil Falls here. And it's gonna be a wet mess. You can feel the wind. Woo! Look at that. Woo! Right on the Bridal Veil Falls. That was awesome. That was awesome. Well, we can check that one off the bucket list. Back down we go.
That's probably the closest we can get to the Horseshoe Falls from the American side. Actually, let's go down there and take a closer look. Oh, wow, look at that. Believe it or not, we're standing almost right on the border. Where the waterfalls begin, that's technically Canadian land. Or water, I guess. Let's take one final look here before going to eat. Let's eat!
Steak sandwich with bacon.
The food, not necessarily gourmet, but let's face it, the whole reason for coming here is to have lunch with a view.
It looks fancier from the outside than it really is, but it wasn't bad. I wanted to buy a t-shirt, but they don't have any large. I mean, there was one large t-shirt in the whole store and it was kind of ugly, but the other ones, you know, small and XXL. That was it.
Now we're just going to walk around Goat Island, see what else there is to see.
Well, yeah, this was the 360, the Three Sisters area, and not quite the pièce de résistance as the waterfalls was, but you can see the roaring rapids, and it's very nice. It's just three islands with the bridges, and let me show you this view coming up here. I think this is one of the better views of the Canadian side with the mist coming up, you know, and all the tall buildings on the Canadian side. These are just three little islands. Now we're gonna continue going around the main island, and then we're gonna go somewhere else. Hello, folks. Maybe they should rename it Goose Island IPA. By the way, I'm going to show you here coming up next, but this is like the confluence where both waterfalls will begin to form. You know, the Canadian falls start going that way and the water start going this way, and on the American falls the water will start flowing this way. And as you can see, it is probably, excuse me fellows, it's probably the quietest part.
Did I say confluence? It is more like a bifurcation, right?
You see over here it's already starting to flow to the left towards the American Falls.
We're going to walk on a different bridge now to go back to the mainland.
That is amazing. Well, we're taking the other bridge coming back into the city of Niagara Falls. This is the regular traffic bridge, not the pedestrian bridge we took earlier.
Let's visit Whirlpool State Park. It is supposed to be very scenic and apparently very popular.
Let's go see the Whirlpool. Here we go, scenic overlook.
Check it out. There's a gondola and a jet boat. Cool. That's a roaring river right there. And that's the double-decker Whirlpool Rapids Bridge. It would have been really cool to get on the jet boat, but we didn't plan for it this time around.
Very cool, the Whirlpool, and it looks like they have some tours, and there's a way to get all the way down there, but we're tired, so we don't want to have to climb all the way back up. Let's keep on walking on this trail and we'll see what else we can see.
The Whirlpool is actually a pretty interesting phenomenon. As the rapids empty onto the Whirlpool, it creates a counterclockwise current, effectively reversing the course of the river in that area. Very cool. And that's the gondola. It's called the Aerocar, and that one you have to take from the Canadian side. Tomorrow we might come back and hike all the way down there. Actually, let's do a portion of the hike today. And that would be the Robert Moses Hydroelectric Power Plant. Now driving over the hydroelectric, and there's a similar plant on the Ontario, Canada side. Next up, Fort Niagara State Park, located at the very northwestern tip of the state, right at the spot where the Niagara River empties onto Lake Ontario. And since we're staying at 4 Mile Creek, we get in for free. Here's the lighthouse, dating back to 1872. I really wanted to see the fort, not only for the history, but for the views. But it is kind of late in the day and we're hungry, so this one is going to get bumped from the itinerary. There's also a great view of the Toronto skyline. Even better than before because we're a bit closer and it is a super clear day. I mean, look at that. Someone recommended this barbecue place in Lewiston, so
take the
why
next
not?
left, then turn left onto the ramp to Fort Niagara.
The main part of Center Street is closed, but we can park a couple of blocks away.
Well, as serendipity would dictate, there's some kind of festival going on in town, so that might be good. Well, this is historic Lewiston right here, and yeah, it looks like whatever carnival was happening here today, it's over, but the street is still closed. And this is the place we're going. This right here, this looks good. We're having something called the Flying Spaghetti Monster, so personal plate. Well, Lewiston here, a town that deserves revisiting, but we're tired. Yes, I think I mentioned that before. So we're just gonna go back, chill out, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Well, good morning. We're gonna go on a little hike today.
In a quarter mile, merge onto Niagara Scenic Parkway.
Niagara Scenic Parkway, and yeah, we're gonna go on that Whirlpool hike. You know, ever since yesterday I was itching to finish that hike, so that's what we're gonna do today.
Well, here we are back at the Whirlpool, and we're gonna do the Niagara Gorge Rim Trail. According to all trails, it is like 3.5 miles. So it should be good. Yeah, here we are. It's supposed to be 3.5 miles, and it goes all the way down into the gorge. It's beautiful here. And such great weather this morning. It's like early 70 degrees in the shade. It's very nice. There's that big dam over there.
And this is where we start going down to the gorge.
Well, let's start going down these stairs.
I have a feeling these stairs are gonna be super strenuous on the way back up, but one careful step at a time, right?
That rock moved. Let's hope that one doesn't. Interesting, there are campsites down here. I see one back there, I see some up here. It's gorgeous. Now, we don't really have any markings. Does the trail continue that way? Or should I go this way? I don't know. Well, according to all trails, it is this way, so we're gonna keep going this way. Just a few up and downs here in this area, and a few bugs, but they're not really bugging me.
Check it out, wildlife!
Hello there, fella.
And we're getting close to the Whirlpool.
An obstacle. We're almost there, I think. I'm just gonna come to this area here and stop, and just to see the rapids there, and we're going back up. Not looking forward to those stairs, let me tell you. Let's make sure we remember this path here. This is magnificent.
We've finally made it to the Niagara River. Look at the crystalline water.
Of course, some people feel the need to do something like that.
Let's call them contemporary petroglyphs, but I don't think we should add to what's already being created here by nature or God or Kyle and Terry. Can't help but marvel at the great forces of nature here. A little bit farther downstream here, and that rushing water is a sight to behold.
Well, this was a wonderful spot. I know the trail goes a little farther that way, but we're just gonna start heading back. We did a total of 1.7 miles, and so it's gonna be 1.7 mile, mostly uphill now. Yeah, I almost want to linger here for a lot longer, but this is the thing. I don't feel like going back up those stairs, but it must be done. Let's do it. Well, that's it. Not really looking forward to this part. Yeah, these stairs are kicking my butt. But we're almost there. I prevailed. We survived those stairs. That's just a little hike, maybe a little less than half a mile to the parking lot.
I believe this might be a shortcut, actually.
Well, we're going to Buffalo, where they invented buffalo wings.
It's about a 45-minute drive, so not necessarily close, but we have to do it, right? I think this place has been pinned on my map since before we started RVing, and if you haven't guessed yet, it is Anchor Bar, the birthplace of the Buffalo Wing. And here we are, established 1935.
I didn't know we had reserved parking. Oh well, this is where they invented the buffalo wing. Let's go in.
I think we're gonna sit at the bar, and they do have their own Anchor Bar IPA. Here you got the boneless and the potato wedges, and my original are taking a little longer.
Here we go, the original. Yum.
Chicken wings were not a thing at all originally. They were only used to make soup and things like that until that one day in 1964 when Teresa Bellissimo deep fried some with a secret sauce, and the rest is hot wing history.
Alright, another somewhat bucket list destination that I wanted to visit for a long time. Even though, don't tell anybody, I'm not the biggest fan of buffalo wings, but this I had to try. And they're some of the best I've had, for sure.
Let's go explore a little bit, but mostly by car. I'm tired from that hike earlier today and sleepy from that meal. Oh, check it out! Even the street sign has a buffalo silhouette painted on it. Which, I don't want to be that guy, but it is technically a bison. But somehow, Bison, New York wouldn't have the same ring to it. I like Buffalo. It has that old character that I like to see in cities. We're approaching Niagara Square, pretty much the center of town. The obelisk commemorates the assassination of President McKinley, and the Art Deco building here to the right is City Hall. There's an observation deck at the top, and it is an imposing building and quite ornate. I like it. It is in the National Registry of Historic Places, by the way. We wanted to visit Pearl Street Grill and Brewery, but there's only so much you can eat, or drink for that matter. Here's the Children's Museum and the Naval Military Park. That would have been cool to visit, but we're just gonna stop real quick here by the mouth of the Buffalo River, also part of the Erie Canal. Here we have the Buffalo Main Light, established in 1833, and it is the oldest structure still standing in its original location in the city of Buffalo. And here's the USS Sullivan's and the USS Little Rock, all part of the Naval Park. On the left, the General Mills Frontier Elevator, and this vast marina on the right. Right here, on the Buffalo River. And that seems to be like a nice boardwalk. It is called Canal Side.
He's flying.
Well, I think we've done enough for one day. Let's get back to the campground because tomorrow is going to be a travel day. This is that Canal Side area. It seems very lively. Man, I wish we were in the mood. There's even an indoor merry-go-round. It's called Buffalo Heritage Carousel. Here's the Key Bank Center, home to the NHL Sabres and the NLL Bandits. It would be cool to attend the game someday. Lacrosse and hockey are two sports I'm not very familiar with. Here to the right, we're going to see the original county and city hall before they moved it to the Art Deco building. And we're gonna pass by Niagara Square one more time. I'm gonna do a double take at that city hall building. It is magnificent. Look at the Statue of Liberty. Actually, there are two of them on top of the Liberty Bank building. We're going to visit one more point of interest before we leave, and not really visit. Visit is a strong word in this case. We're going to drive by and see it and take some pictures from the outside. And it is this house by famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright. This one is called Martin House, and they do have tours. He designed over 1,000 structures, some of them quite remarkable. He was the pioneer of a philosophy called organic architecture, and the idea was to design in harmony with humanity and the environment. So buildings, furnishings, and surroundings would become part of a unified, interrelated composition. Sounds good, huh? One of these days, we'll go inside. This house dates back to 1905, and it kind of looks modern, even by 21st century standards. The rest of the neighborhood, it's pretty, but not like the iconic Martin House. And with that, we're gonna say goodbye to Buffalo for now. Check it out, we can see the mist all the way from here. That's a pretty nice campsite. Tomorrow, the road will take us someplace else. But for now, let's enjoy our last evening, overlooking Toronto on the shore of Lake Ontario.
Well, here we are. We're ready to go. By the way, this is what the roof looks like here. It's starting to get dirty. I have to clean it up. But in any case, whenever we have this light out under a tree, I like to sweep it a little bit, because sometimes, today is really good actually, but sometimes it has a lot of leaves. So just go like this. We have some bird poop there. Nothing I can do about that right now. And we're gonna fill up with water, dump, and onto our next destination. Let me make sure the extension cord is okay, because this is what we use to power the computers, and we just don't want it to get caught in the slide there. All right, we're ready to go.
Today is going to be about a 2-hour drive, 80 miles or so, and we're going to make at least one stop along the way. And where we're going is also going to be an only electric site, so let's fill up the fresh water and then we're gonna dump on the way out.
Yeah, filling up with water before we go.
Here's the dump station, and they have two, which is good because it's a large campground, but they are too close together. I'm gonna have to wait for this person to finish anyway. Well, I'm glad they were almost done.
Yeah, it's always a good idea to flush whenever you get one of these, hoses available. And, there was a lot of stuff stuck in there. I don't really want to show you.
Let me deposit my checkout slip, and off we go. You think it might rain? I don't know, but it looks a little scary. Yep, I knew that was gonna happen. Luckily, it was brief. "12:03. I think we'll be fine. And here we are at our first stop of the day, Lockport, New York. Let's see if we can find parking. This is the location of a historic flight of 5 locks on the Erie Canal. The purpose of the Erie Canal was to create a navigable water route between the Atlantic Ocean and the Great Lakes. There are a total of 36 locks, and it goes all the way from Buffalo to the Hudson River. Now, if we could only find parking, and it looks like there's some here to the left. Well, 3 rights and a left make a U-turn. And here we are.
Well, we stopped here briefly in Lockport, and the main thing to see here is the historic 5 locks on the Erie Canal here. So that's what we're gonna see. And just for a few minutes, I At some point, I wish I had allocated more time for this, but this is all the time we allocated. And, oh, look at that.
I think we're in luck. There's a boat going through. The water slowly rising. There's an overall elevation difference of about 565 feet, divided among all the 36 locks. Once the water levels equalize, the gates begin to open, and the boats can go through. It's a double set of gates. And I guess the duck was waiting too, patiently.
No, that was really cool. As you can see, they're closing the lock as soon as the boat goes through, and I'm always fascinated by these works of engineering, like, and this is old. I mean, this dates back to I don't remember. I'll write it down. But it's historic, you know.
Actually, I have to correct myself. That's a fairly modern structure, only dating back to 1918. The historic locks from 1825 are the narrow ones on the other side.
Well, am I glad I came when I did? Now there's a gazillion people coming here. Let me take a picture with that sculpture. There's a sculpture right here. Look, it's like a mini Niagara.
These are the historic Flight of Five.
Yeah, it's like they're taking a picture. Nice looking look of a group of fellas there. Let's continue on the road again. I should have stayed and crashed the guided tour back there, but I'm just gonna continue. Lots of traffic here on the Erie Canal. As I said earlier, I love this stuff, and I could linger here forever, you know, waiting for the water to come up and down as they let boats through. You know, they're changing in water levels. But I want to continue. We're going to continue towards Letchworth State Park, but I had to come see the Erie Canal. Anyway, that's a cool sculpture down there. Yeah, we parked the RV right here on the side of the street, and now we continue.
Of course, there are many other things to see and do here in Lockport, but today we're just passing through. For example, the Lockport Cave, right here on the right. It's a 70-minute guided tour, an underground boat ride, and that's just one of the many things to do here. Can't do everything in one trip, right? This one doesn't say clearance, but it's probably one of those that looks lower than it really is. Perry here, pretty good looking town. We might return later. The terrain is certainly beginning to change. And we're getting all these rolling hills. How exciting! And here we are, Letchworth State Park, also dubbed the Grand Canyon of the East. Let's see if it lives up to the hype.
We got grills preheated, and we're gonna grill some world-famous Tony Pacos from Toledo. I'm gonna heat up some of that Tony Pacos hot dog sauce. Yeah, we don't have any hot dog buns, so that's what it's gonna have to be. I'm gonna eat one like that, and the second one I might put cheese on it. We'll see. I ended up not putting cheese on it. So yeah, this happened.
Oh yeah, at some point our good weather luck was going to run out, and It certainly did.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Thank you. We watch you all the time. I was just gonna go wave at your camera as a joke. I didn't know it was
Yeah,
you.
it was. Yeah, we're gonna.
Got caught a little off guard there, but I love what I do. Love meeting people along the way, at campgrounds, Walmarts, all kinds of different places, and I usually get good tips, like places to visit, breweries, stuff like that. We're going to explore this northern part of the park first, the one close to the campground, but first, we have to go into town for our weekly visit to the post office. Yep, gotta mail those CDs, stickers, magnets.
It is that time of the week. Gotta do some shipping. I'll be right back. You know those magnets? They get stuck to the box sometimes. All right, let's go explore Letchworth State Park a little now.
Today we've only got a couple of hours before it gets dark. And let's face it, not the best weather, but I have a feeling the mist and the rain and the fog might give the canyon a certain unique look. We'll see. This first pullout is called Hogsback Overlook. The ridge is called Hogsback for its resemblance to a wild boar's spine. Yeah, I kind of see it. The wild boar's spine. Kind of, sort of. This is the High Banks Recreational Area. Here to the right, they have a huge swimming pool. And this next pullout here overlooks Mount Morris Dam. It's mesmerizing. This is the northern end of the park, and I'm thinking probably not the most impressive part. Next, the dam overlook, near the northern entrance to the park, and they have a gift shop and a restaurant, but we just came for the view. Okay, I'm about to say something controversial. I mean, it is a beautiful area, but I think calling it the Grand Canyon might be overselling it a little bit. I'm just saying. It is getting late, but let's go to the southern portion of the park, the one we're going to visit more in depth tomorrow. This is called Gardeau Overlook. Is it possible that the fog is actually enhancing the experience? There are so many of these pullouts, but we can't possibly stop at all of them, at least not today. The sun's going down and it is getting dark quickly.
This is the Great Bend Overlook.
This may be one of those where the low-hanging clouds do not enhance the experience.
Yeah, it's a little bit of fog here. Oh yeah, I'm sure it's an amazing view.
We're gonna try and see the lower falls, but if we can't, there's always tomorrow.
Wonder how long the trail is.
We wanted to do this trail, but it doesn't say how long it is. I can hear water in the distance, but I don't know. And it is getting dark soon.
I tell you what, it is raining, it is getting dark, so we're gonna tackle this tomorrow at some point. And my idea for tomorrow, we're gonna go to the farthest point in the park and then work our way back to the campground. And that way we see, you know, all the stuff that we missed. We'll meet in the middle. Hopefully the fog will clear and we'll be able to get those views of the Grand Canyon of the East. So yeah, let's go back to the campground. It's gonna get dark like in half an hour, so no point in continuing. See you tomorrow. Well, good morning, and yeah, travel sometimes doesn't work as planned, and according to my radar here, it doesn't look good. I think it's gonna rain all day, so we might make it a work day today, and then tomorrow we have to get out of here, but checkout is not until like, I don't know, noon. So maybe like early in the morning we can go see the falls, or maybe this afternoon we'll go under the rain. I don't know yet. But I picked up all my camping gear here, my grill and my chairs, because we're not gonna be able to do anything. And now I'm gonna retract the awning because just in case we get wind. But yeah, these are remnants of that Hurricane Fred. If you can see it there at the bottom, that these are the remnants of Hurricane Fred. That, yeah, it is what it is. So since there's not much else we can do today, I'm gonna cook. We're gonna make some shredded chicken. So I put the chicken in there with some salt and pepper, and we're gonna you know, pressure boil it here for about an hour, and then we'll shred it and do the sofrito mix, and it'll be awesome. Okay, we have the chicken going here, but 17 minutes left. I'm making some yellow Mexican rice over there, which about 20 minutes left. And then I just realized we're totally out of onions. So what to do? Well, we're gonna do extra peppers, and we're gonna do onion powder and some garlic. Yeah, by the way, these peppers from Patty and Bill from Vermilion, Ohio, and you know, it's all organic and homegrown, and yeah, we're gonna use them to cook our shredded chicken here.
Salt, black pepper, garlic.
That's our chicken. Should be tender.
Cooking wine, paprika, cumin, oregano. You know, the usual suspects. A little bit of cilantro for that extra touch of freshness.
Let's see. It might need a little more salt. Actually, it's delicious. There's something odd about it, probably the lack of real onion, but other than that, I like it.
Well, the rain is not gonna stop, and we're here, so let's explore under the rain. We've taken the longer but quicker route around the park, and we are now coming in through the south entrance, officially the Porterville entrance, and we're going to work our way north, or northeast rather, towards where the campground is located.
In a quarter mile, you will arrive at your destination.
Well, we arrive at this first vista point, and there's no trailhead information back there. So we're just gonna go down these stairs and see what we can see. It seems to be a nice view of the canyon down there. And as you can see, this is the purple trail. So this is that gorge rim trail that goes all around the park. That's the waterfall down there. This may not be the best view, but why not, right? Very beautiful views of the canyon down there.
Back and forth on all these switchbacks. I see waterfalls. We're definitely getting closer. Check it out, a tributary. Actually, a beautiful miniature version of the falls. Yeah, I had to do a double take.
Oh yeah, this is our first view of the upper falls here. It's raining a little bit, which I should have brought the umbrella. But in any case, now we're gonna go to the next overlook. The only bad thing is we have to go up those stairs, you know, that it's not gonna be that bad. And this is another awesome, cool little waterfall right here. Look at that. I love it.
We could have continued on this purple gorge trail to see the other falls and all the viewpoints, but we didn't come prepared to do a long hike, so we're gonna take the car to go down to the next viewpoint. This parking lot in particular is somewhat equidistant to Upper Falls Scenic View and the Middle Falls Lookout, so maybe we can kill two birds.
Oh yeah, it's raining too much to go umbrella-less. So, le parapluie de Letchworth. Almost there. Almost there. What can I say? It's a rainy day, but we are making the best of it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful waterfalls here at the upper falls at Letchworth State Park, the Grand Canyon of the East. Very rainy day here in the Empire State, remnants of tropical storm Fred, and it's gonna be raining all day. So we decided, you know what? We're here. We're not gonna stay cooped up inside the trailer. Might as well see something, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. The canyon. I think calling it the Grand Canyon might be overselling it, to be honest about it. But still, you know, it's there's no way to oversell that, the beauty of that waterfall. So let's continue. There's a middle falls, there's a lower falls. I don't know if we're gonna be able to see them all, but so far we're loving it.
Yeah, this is definitely that iconic, postcard-like view of Upper Falls.
Now we're gonna go see the Middle Falls, and it should be about double what we hiked to Upper Falls, but here on the gorge trail, you know, the blazes are this color. What color is that? Is that pink, magenta, fuchsia? I don't know. In any case, should be It doesn't say, that's the thing. They should have like, tell you, half a mile to Middle Falls. They don't say. I hear water. We must be getting close. Oh, look at that. That's probably it, right there.
Not quite, but we're almost there.
Okay, I take it back. Now it's starting to look more like a Grand Canyon.
Very impressive. Very impressive view from behind the Middle Falls. And the rain is relentless.
Well, this overlook is flooded, so we're gonna have to go to the next one. We're talking. Amazing, simply amazing. Middle Falls so far the best one of the two. Now we have to go see Lower Falls, and we'll have a chance to compare.
Let's get back to the car and continue. As you can see, instead of walking on that path down there, we're just driving from Vista Point to Vista Point. I think we can all agree that today the weather does not offer, let's say, optimal hiking conditions. Here to the left is the entrance to Glen's Iris Inn, a popular venue for weddings and such.
Ready to be inspired? Well, this one is called Inspiration Point, so let's check it out.
They have this pond here, and it is beautiful. Of course, this is the one time we didn't bring the umbrella. And I don't feel like going back to the car and get it, so a little rain never killed anyone, right? We're ready to be inspired?
Oh wow, look at that. And we even have a train going over the bridge way back there.
And yeah, I totally take back what I said earlier about the Grand Canyon of the East. Whatever I said, I take it back. This is quite breathtaking. It is an amazing place, even under this crummy weather.
Well, Inspiration Point definitely lives up to its name. From here we can see, of course, a little bit of Upper Falls. Middle Falls, of course, is right there in the middle. And Lower Falls is just around the corner, and that's what we're trying to go see now. Lower Falls, which is where we ended our short expedition yesterday. Well, Lower Falls is somewhere back there, so that's what we're gonna try to see now.
Let's continue towards Lower Falls. But let's stop at this other lookout here real quick. There's another great view of the canyon. Let's see if we can finally get to Lower Falls.
We're going towards Lower Falls here. Huge picnic area here. There, Lower Falls Arch Bridge. Doesn't say how far it is, but I mean, it is right there.
Oh yeah, we gotta get down there somehow.
Well, first we're gonna do the easy view of the falls, which is 1,000 feet that way.
As I said earlier, we really could have done this whole trail all along the gorge, but that would have taken several hours and more preparedness. Had we had nicer weather, And here's our first view of Lower Falls. And there is another trail down there, and I think that's where we're going next. But first, let's get back to Minitini, get into some dry clothes, and then we'll come back.
Alright, going back.
I think those stairs take you to the other trail.
Well, it figures, started raining again. But at least, relatively dry now. So we're gonna go and see if we can go down all the way to that footbridge down at the bottom of the gorge. It's relentless. We had like a half-hour break in the weather and it's back. In any case, earlier we did the one on the right, the easy view of the falls, 1,000 feet. And now we're gonna do the stairway, 127 steps. I'm assuming there will be very few people doing this hike under these weather conditions, but I didn't want to leave Letchworth State Park here without coming to Lower Falls. And don't tell anybody, but today I didn't bring my hiking shoes, but I've got the Vesis, which are pretty competent. As long as it's not slippery or anything like that, and they're water resistant. I can hear the water roaring, so we must be getting really close. Whoa! Slippery. It's a muddy mess. Oh yeah, that's the view. Beautiful. I'm gonna have to come up to the grass because it is really, really muddy and slippery down there. I really should have brought the proper hiking shoes for this one, as I said, but let's keep going. Let's see where that footbridge is. I don't see anything marked, but I imagine it's gotta be through here, right? I hope it's not too slippery. Yeah, this does seem like a trail, so it's gotta be through here.
The bridge seems to be down there, but first, let's see if there's a view from here.
Everything's so wet, and whenever it gets muddy, it gets really slippery with these shoes. So I'm just gonna tread lightly here. Oh, look at that view.
Yep, that's the bridge. That's the view. Actually, this is the view. And here's looking back towards Lower Falls.
This is the danger zone right there. Alright, let's head back. Let's go down to that bridge. It is once again really muddy down here. Yeah. Must be careful. So I'm gonna take this path here to the left. Yeah. This seems like a better idea. Still slippery, huh? Yeah, it's a little bit of a mess, but we've made it to the bridge. And over there, this is a great view of the falls as well, just a little bit. Look at those canyon walls. I mean, that's quite a sight to see. And here's an even better view of the falls. That was a fun little hike. Well, not so little. Even in the pouring rain, it was fun. Very slippery, but it ended up being okay. Now we're gonna start heading back to the campground, and we might stop at one or two of those overlooks, just weather permitting.
Let's check out this view. This is the archery field overlook.
Yep, pouring down now. In my mind, this area kind of looks like, oops, I'm falling down. Kind of looks like a little bit like the Blue Ridge Parkway, you know? It's that wooded, you know, winding road with these pull-outs, and I mean, they have benches here, so I guess it is okay to come out here. So just for one other view of this this amazing meander here of the river, and this may be slippery, so I shall be careful. Yeah, look at that. This is a picnic area here called Wolf Creek, so let's check it out. Let's check out the creek. I mean, I'm not gonna do much because, to be honest, the weather doesn't call for much more sightseeing. This is the last thing I want to see.
beautiful area here, Wolf Creek. Let me tell you, there are so many places, so many hiking trails in this park that we must return someday and hope for better weather.
Oh, that would be a nice sliding rock right there.
All this is, of course, part of that purple-blazed gorge trail.
I'm thinking one of these days might be a good idea to do that whole trail, that whole main trail that goes, following the gorge. Maybe worth doing. For now, I'm tired. I think this is it for us here at Letchworth State Park, unless we decide to do something tomorrow morning. But it's been very, very enjoyable. It's a place I will definitely return to one of these days with more time and hopefully better weather. Beautiful park. Well, good morning. The reason I am wet is because this is the second take, actually. But I wanted to show you, this is a cool system here that Winnebago installed on this one. It's kind of beta, but if you want to have a hose like to clean things up, like my block there, it's been raining for 2 days straight, so it's full of mud. You just plug it in, and automatically it pressurizes, and that's why I'm wet. I didn't know it pressurized that quick. So you have like as I was saying before the battery ran out, it's like having a garden hose here on the side of the RV, and it comes in really handy, much better than the outside shower, I think, for this kind of thing, if you just want to wash something real quick. In any case, just remember to depressurize before you disconnect it, otherwise you can get wet. Now off to Rochester we go.
We're going to have full hookups in Rochester, so no need to fill up with water or dump the holding tanks. And in my original plan, I was going to make a super long episode about upstate New York, the whole thing, as I implied in the teaser. But I think I'm gonna cut it in half and then do like a director's cut eventually. So I'm going to save Rochester and the Finger Lakes area for next week. How about that? Until then, thank you so much for watching, and see you on the road.
I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, and 'cause I'm free in my RV. Yeah, I'm riding, I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV.